Good morning, everyone, once again, and a very warm welcome to all of you, and thank you for joining us today. On behalf of AI Certs and our valued partner JMK Advisory, we are delighted to host this session on From Strategy to Reality, Leading AI Adoption in Modern Enterprises. In today's rapidly evolving business landscape, AI is no longer just a buzzword, it's a strategic priority. However, the real challenge organizations face is not in defining AI strategy, but in successfully implementing them and driving tangible outcomes. That's exactly what today's session is all about, bridging the gap between strategy and execution. Before we move ahead, a quick housekeeping notes for you guys. This session is being recorded and you'll be receiving the recording shortly after the webinar. Also, please feel free to drop in your questions in the Q&A section or chat box. We'll be addressing them towards the end. Let me now take a moment to introduce AI Certs. AI Certs is a globally recognized certification body dedicated to empowering professionals and enterprises with practical job-ready AI skills. Headquartered in New York and with a strong and growing global presence, AI Certs collaborates with organizations, training partners, and industry leaders across regions to drive AI adoption at scale. Our focus is very simple: making AI accessible, making it actionable, and ensuring it delivers real business impacts. Through our certifications and initiatives, we aim to enable professionals not just to understand AI, but to confidently implement and lead AI driven transformation within their organizations. And now, moving forward, it's my absolute pleasure to introduce our speaker for today. We are proud to be collaborating with JMK Advisory, a firm known for its expertise in strategic advisory and transformation. Joining us is Dr. Kavisha, founder and CEO of JMK Advisory. I would like to invite Dr. Kavisha to take the stage, share a brief introduction about herself and JMK Advisory, and then lead us into the session. Over to you.
Thank you, Shristi. Much appreciated. And welcome and good morning or good afternoon, depending on where you are. We really appreciate your attendance this morning, and we're going to share with you some of our key insights and guidance around AI transformation. So that is the purpose of today's session. I'll go through the agenda now. Just a little bit about myself. JMK is over 5 years existing as an organization, initially focused on business agility. So everything from design thinking through to scaled agile, through to now, of course, our implementation within AI and the training that we enable, as well as the actual consulting and guidance that we do from a strategy execution point of view. What we focus on is taking people in through the journey in terms of skills upliftment, as well as educating, working with them, coaching in terms of AI, and providing key strategic advisory around adoption. So that is what JMK specializes in. From my side, I have completed 2 masters and my doctorate in AI, as well as business agility. So that brings a level of global accreditation as well as credibility to the organization. We have a number of interns as well as consultants that work across different companies currently. And from my side, I'm also a family person. We are looking at how do we build at home and build at work and help our communities. So JMK is focused not only on the tools and the tech, but also the people. And I think that's predominantly where we want to spend our time, is how do we keep people employable and future fit through AI transformation? And that is why AI Certs is a key partner to us. The training that we'll mention through AI Certs that we deliver locally to South Africa, and the capabilities that AI Certs brings to people and organizations, it is a key enabler for your AI transformation. So if you're on that journey, that is why we're having this call, so that we can create more awareness around this topic and the skills that's required and what is available. I think we're flooded with a lot of information around how do we get to ROI, how do we get value out, and this is a key discussion around that and creating that awareness. I'm going to go through I hope everyone is able to see our presentation. I'm going to go through the agenda. Just let me know if you're able to see. My side is, there we go. Welcome to the AI era is Okay, so we have a brief introduction. Shrishti provided from an AI certs perspective and myself from a JMK advisory. We will talk to key insights from global surveys as well as local. So there's a section that will speak to that. And then tangible activities that you can actually take away from the session that will help build your capabilities within your organizations or as an individual. The webinar agenda will follow through strategic understanding. So we want to frame this discussion for you. Execution frameworks, looking at AI transformation that's scalable. Workforce transformation. So how do we build and lead high-performing teams and AI-capable teams? I think that's probably of knowledge, of awareness, of fluency. And then build towards hyper responsible and compliant leadership in organizations. And then we're going to zoom in on one of the executive pathways. It's a specific course in certification with an AI certs. And I'll hand over to Dispelay to take some Q&A and also share with you the different skill pathways that you can consider when you train with AI certs and JMK. Kicking off into the strategic imperative. On the left-hand side of this slide, you'll have a look at some of the data that we've utilized from BCG, so Boston Consulting Group. This is a recent survey in 2026, where you can see the share of respondents who use AI several times at least a week. It is surprising and yet not surprising because South Africans, we also, from a local context, want to leap forward and are naturally resilient, so that adoption and adaptability curve is sitting at 72%. Only 36% of employees, though, feel properly trained. So the reason I'm zooming on that is it is critical to enable people through this journey, so that we keep people relevant, keep your employability up. And that is why we're looking at now on the right, why adoption is no longer optional. Whether it's a nice, we've transitioned from a nice to have experimental tool to being a cornerstone of competitive advantage. Productivity leaps, so we often hear the word around productivity gains. There is clear indicators and data points where we can see that early adopters report a 40% increase in terms of operational efficiencies. We also see within revenue growth and cost reduction, there are opportunities using predictive analytics to drive up 15% increase in customer lifetime value. And it's the pace, right? So it's not just about these fantastic insights, but it's the rate of change right now and being relevant as an organization and an individual. We're embarking on ways of reducing cost of key enabler for that. So through combining role-based training, we're growth. Some organizations, AI value the output in terms of text, or we have all these tools, but we really look at role-based training. Organizations can move from AI awareness to enterprise-wide productivity, and being AI ready as an organization. We will take questions at the end, but please pop them on the chat as we go through it. From a cost of inaction, so the AI adoption is facing a widening gap. So the AI divide will define the winners of our next decade. On the right-hand side, you see AI-driven workforce transformation image, what's at stake. In less than 5 years, we're going to have around 2.5 years, certain skills have half-life, meaning it becomes outdated so quickly. So if you consider the way we look at our mobile phones, how quick you get a new phone out, how quick there's new updates. Just think of the software on your phone. Because AI agents and AI itself creates capabilities that are always on, those capabilities in an organization can upskill while we're sleeping. So the need to upskill as human beings is around 44%. Reskilling will need to take place by 2025. We, of course, don't mean, or rather the point on reskilling or upskilling is building on what you have. It's not that your role currently or your current skill set is becoming obsolete. It's more around how do you take what you have and build on that. And that is why there's a strong focus from JMK and AI certs on building, enhancing, growing a human being's skill set so that they can navigate this world. I mean, we know the AI age is here. We know people are using it at work. You'll hear things around shadow AI. Everyone's, building an agent. One of the companies that we consulted, we were joking about that. Oprah, you get a car. So now it's you get an agent. Everyone gets an agent. And that is why AI ethics is so important, using it responsibly. And in order to have those capabilities as an individual and an organization, there is a need to upskill. So that is what the purpose of this slide is the cost of inaction, and it is a critical warning because we're moving fast with developing AI capabilities and not as fast with developing people to have those skills. So setting the vision and the AI ambition without upskilling isn't strategy, it's risk. So where do we go in terms of leadership direction and vision? Leaders categorize the AI initiatives to manage resources effectively. It is important to note, though, that not every project requires revolutionary overhaul. What we mean by that is not every project needs to reset or redesign its delivery phase to be more AI driven. Many projects currently that you might have in flight are sufficient to get your first output, your outcome, your deployment. Many current workforce redesign or organizational redesign, it's sufficient in its as is mode because you do not want to create unhealthy disruption. Where we create positive disruption is by AI strategy execution, but carefully crafting a skills development roadmap that underpins your ambitions as an organization or an individual. In terms of optimization, from a setting the vision perspective, focus on improving your existing processes. That's an ideal place to start. Look at the waste in your organization. Use your techniques from lean management for those that are familiar with it. Consider from a design thinking perspective, where's your pain points? What are we going to apply an AI lens to? Where can we leverage our AI tool technology or capabilities? And also, how do we take every role, person, or employee through this journey with us so they can use AI in their daily work? Expansion of that strategy and setting that vision, using AI to enter new markets. It's key to understand where your ambitions are as an organization. There's always our current Q1, Q2, Q3, Q4 roadmaps or your your horizon planning. Those are important. It's equally important to know with this new technology, where can you pivot? What's the next most valuable thing that your organization needs? So expansion happens when capability is also built per role. Currently, there is a lot of free generic training. We know that a lot of organizations have access, of course, to Microsoft 365. There's a lot within the Copilot suite, within Claude. There's a lot of training that is currently free. The challenge is, how do you move beyond that? And we know from being, for those that have been in the in work market for a long time, you'll remember when we implement ITIL for service management, you'll think of COBIT for group governance, risk, and IT management. You look at items like scaled agile if you're in a safe environment, scaled agile being the business agility course, lean management if you're in process and process optimization. And people that are in those roles attend that training. This transformation is not so dissimilar. In order to see a rapid uptake of your AI tools and capabilities, people need to be well positioned to do that. They need to be aware, they need to be upskilled so that they can actually use the things we're building. And then transformation, of course, creating an entirely new business model of products that was impossible before AI. So speaking to what is on your roadmap that you wish you could have had. And now with AI, you can, and you can have it faster. But what does that mean about embedding it into your organization? So there's always that element of change management. There's opportunity to use your tools to have faster change management opportunities or communicate across your organization and create awareness. But it is important that you embed AI as a capability into your organization's DNA. If you have it in pilots across the organization, that's when you struggle, of course, to scale and create that enterprise ROI. In terms of strategic integration, so execution begins with alignment. I mean, we know this from many strategy planning discussions. When we have workshops, we aim for the stars, right? We want to create organizations that are dynamic, that are positively disruptive, that create future growth and sustainability. So strategic integration for your AI framework would follow a similar pathway. However, it's not just your technical silos, but also drivers of core business objectives. So from a phase one, we should recommend diagnostic. Again, identify your high value use cases and how data ready are you across departments. Phase two, capability. So not only data ready, we're highlighting that because it is probably one of the key elements that you want to improve, but it is also your tooling, your infrastructure, as well as your other tech stack requirements, of course. From a capability building, securing the right infrastructure and talent from a buy, build, or partner. And then, of course, scaling, moving from isolated pilots to enterprise-wide adoption. At the bottom of this slide, you'll notice winners do three things differently. So this was also from the BCG recent AI report, and it shows around these three elements. Winners embed AI into core workflows, not just pilots. We upskill people. 70% of value comes from people change and aligning AI to business strategy and delivery execution. So we've got to be deliberate and it's got to be purpose driven. If it's pilots, but you see that the value is actually not optimal or it's changed, what we thought was a POC last year, it was a good use case, it could already be quite different this year. So having business processes that allow you to relook at the pilot, is it doing what we said it would? Are we upskilling people in parallel to that? And is it aligning with our strategy and delivery execution? Then we look at transforming vision to execution. So this has two lenses, right? We look at it from a strategy perspective around defining those objectives and KPIs. There's also the workforce transformation element and designing a skills roadmap. So that's where we use our partner AI certs as JMK to guide us in terms of what are the future certifications that teams need, that people need to accompany an AI transformation. Then from a foundation perspective, data cleaning and governance, building foundational learning. So you can see there's the strategy, the execution, the upskilling, the workforce transformation. The pilot, launching high impact MVP, minimum viable product, and upskill at the same time through role-based learning for that pilot team. Because we want to embed this. We don't just want a tool that we're not even sure how to enhance it and improve it. The moment people are equipped, we can say, actually, it's doing this now, but maybe in the next release or the next phase, we want to actually do this. We can pivot to that because we are self-aware. We are trained. We can see where the gaps are. Evaluate, measure ROI, and iterate. We go further and say, build your AI roles, your accountability, who needs to be consulted and informed. Those little simple things, having that visible, that already creates a sense of ethics and responsibility in your approach. We're not leaving that to a group department to figure out later on, and then we have a lot of technical debt or risk. So build these key artifacts and build this into your execution plan. Evaluate performance and responsible use. Performance, I see a lot of companies internationally and locally focusing on the ROI from a KPI or performance metric. It is equally important to measure it from a responsible usage perspective. Again, that can open up organizations to massive risk, and it's good to de-risk as you go through your pilot. Because why? We want to scale good behaviors. We want to scale the learnings, not just the execution. So when you get to the next phase of enterprise rollout, advance your AI strategy execution through continuous upskilling. And that's looking beyond, of course, your month 11 or 12. And yes, that is potentially in some organizations where there is a lot of governance or red tape that might be an ambitious timeline, but we're giving you an indicator of what's possible when starting within a pilot team. And at the bottom, you can see there's these 4 pillars that we looped into this slide because it is key to understand and be aware of strategic imperatives for leaders. Because again, we're going to zoom in on the AI for executives. We stop underestimating the importance of training. Commit appropriate levels of investment, time, and leadership support to your people development. Track the value you're generating through with AI improvements in productivity, quality, and employee satisfaction. Your people are your biggest marketing tool. Your people are be connected to your employees through the journey. Invest in your people to reshape workflows and unlock AI's value. Anticipate AI's impact on workers and the workforce. So those are 3 different layers, right? I mean, the work itself is going to change your work. Who is in your team? Because now we've also got agents in the team. You've got other AI capabilities that do, other duties and responsibilities. And what does that workforce look like? Because there's impact to all those factors. And build upskilling and reskilling capabilities to support workforce deployment. Experiment rigorously with agents to accelerate the experience curve. We currently have fantastic frameworks around design thinking that encourage those, innovation, diverge on an idea, converge the double diamond that we use in terms of design thinking. Please, if there's anything we're mentioning through this discussion that you might not be familiar with and are interested in, these are all topics that between AI Certs or JMK that you can reach out to for more information. But it is important in that last point there for leaders to also create the environment where we can experiment, create the environment where you can accelerate the experience curve. Feedback loops now more than ever are key to future improvement and evolving your AI capability. Companies redesigning their workflows invest more in the people transformation, and it pays off. It really does. That is sometimes now the gap between we've introduced these AI capabilities or we've bought all these tools, but no one's using it. Or people are using it, but they're not seeing value. Or we're using it and we're already seeing a downward trend in terms of usability because we've tried it, the quality is not great. We're not sure how to take it beyond prompt. We don't know how to apply it in our role. So those are some of the things that impact scaling your AI strategy across your organization and ultimately impact your return on investment in your AI strategy. When we move to further into your workforce transformation strategy, which is powering your AI engine, the left-hand side, you'll see that we want to shift from learning to capability to execution to having an AI enterprise. So defining the industry vision for your workforce transformation. These 4 pillars on the left, mapping workforce skills and capability needs, and integrate technology as an enabler, and then looking at redesigning your work processes and structures is from the World Economic Forum 2026 work of the content that is being shared, but please do reach out after. In terms of this specific slide, understanding what your vision for your organization, is what we covered in the earlier slide, for leadership to create that North Star, it is as essential to understand what is future ready meant by your workforce. So as an example, technology or IT services shift from being coding heavy, as we know, with vibe coding, with the ability to spin up your code with AI within a few minutes versus a few days. So shifting from coding heavy work to AI orchestrated digital ecosystems. What does that future look like? What is the outcome that you want? So when you create that vision, make it as fruitful and as clear in terms of what do you see your organization doing in a year's time? Or that might be too long with the rate of change or pace of change right now. But even if you look at it quarterly, what are the things we want to shift the dial on? What will that look like for us? What will that feel like? What does that mean for people and the digital ecosystem? So map your workforce skill and capability needs. Create a clear skill pathway. So first we want to understand, of course, what are the future critical capabilities we need, whether it's for example, if I was myself looking at, okay, where am I going to go and upskill? As Kavisha, I will look at it from this perspective. These are my core strengths. This is the AI cert that I can apply to that to just help me level up. As an organization, look at your product roadmaps. Look at the features you want to build in your teams. Look at the organizational KPIs that you have. If it's modernize your customer experience or new products or services, and build that alignment in terms of your role-based skills map. That's what we're saying. So you can manage current and future demand. Integrate technology as an enabler. So use technology to augment, not replace human capability, to support and augment the tasks that are repetitive, that are mundane, so we can focus on more meaningful work. I to a team recently where they're looking at building their agents. And one of the things was we've got a lot of people that are working overtime. Okay, so it was an operational department and they wanted to reduce burnout. And I thought that is fantastic. How do we use AI agents to reduce burnout? How do we support this team so that they can first have normal Friday afternoon and they're not working till 10 on incidents or challenges or problems. This was a service management team. And how do they have work-life balance? Where do we want these agents to support the team and create opportunities for more meaningful work, for more ambitious work, so that the human beings in the team are focused on those opportunities that are going to shift the company forward, shift their careers forward, help them upskill, but of course that spills over into your organization. I mean, that's a win-win that we want, right? We want our human capabilities to level up and increase in the right directions so that we are relevant and adding the right value to the organization. The organization benefits from that as well, of course, because we repurpose our people to focus on the most valuable things. And then the last item there around redesign work processes and structure, because that is coming. If we look at the right-hand side now, the image out of the McKinsey report, the recent report on AI workforce and AI jobs and the impact of AI in the workplace, here are some of the shifts in leadership and management skills. So they're referencing the US among people, agent, and robots. Imagine that, guys. I mean, here's a grid telling us, okay, this is what people will own. This is what an agent and a robot could do. And this is where we have to collaborate together. This is why we've got I think there's a lot of AI certs courses on HR and how do we build these capabilities within different industries. It's key to leverage the education right now so that we can actually work in this mode, because it's coming. In some countries, it's already there. So you can see, for example, people, agents, and robots will collaborate on sequencing and balancing of tasks. I'm already seeing that in companies locally. I'm sure some of the people on the call are already experiencing that, where an agent potentially does a lot of the admin, but then we need to come in and balance stakeholder needs with sequencing. That's what people will focus on. But can you see the shift of what we need to be doing and potentially what that means for what a team looks like? So it's key to empower and uplift and develop the skills in your teams. It really is going to power this engine for us, and it is going to create a sustainable ecosystem. I mean, of course, it's not only about the person working within a company. It's about that person in a community. It's about that person being the breadwinner at home. It's about that person who wants to have a job in 2 years' time. How do we upskill if you're working in certain corporate environments that are pushing the AI agenda? How do you keep yourself in a good employable state where you can? Those things are important, not just to the organization to be more profitable, but to you as an individual. Okay, so please do keep those things in mind when you look at, training. Is it going to lead you further down your career plan? And put your lens to it. As much as we support and enable organizations, it is as important for us to consider social impact. And that is what leads us into the ethical AI space, leading with integrity. I might pick up the pace a little, so it's a smaller group this morning, and it would be nice to get some questions or conversation going. So I'm going to pick up slightly. I can't see the thumbs up on the chat or if there's any questions, but just so that you know, I will pick up pace so we can have more discussions. Ethics is not just a constraint, it is a brand differentiator. And that is a true thing. I'm sure everyone is aware of the current social media legal cases and discussions that are in flight. Being ethical and being aware and being a trustworthy space within an organization, leading with integrity, it's critical. Not just from a data privacy perspective, but also from ensuring AI serves human goals and doesn't replace human agency. Accountability, leaders must be responsible for the model outcomes. Social impact, considering the broader implications of automation on the workforce and society. There's an AI ethics course that AI Certs also offers that JMK trains on locally. So where possible, you'll see I've added the badge so that when we're talking to a topic, you can see if you're in this space, if that's your role in an organization, that would then be a natural progression for you to pursue studying further. Global AI regulations and compliance. So the proactive compliance reduces legal liability and social impact. I mean, we've got to comply with the world's regulations as well as local regulations. So from an EU AI Act that establishes the risk categories, what is prohibited, high, limited, or minimal, and strict transparency requirements. From the NIST framework that looks at the US framework for managing risks, focusing on making AI systems valid, reliable, safe, and secure. And of course, you get industry-specific guidelines within the finance space, within data space, within healthcare, tech that we need to consider when you are building your AI capabilities. Mitigating bias and ensuring fairness. This is so important for organizations and for human beings. So on the left-hand side, we talk about ensuring data labeling, diverse data teams, auditing are performed by diverse groups, continuous monitoring. Models drift over time, as we know. So monthly bias audits are essential, especially in high stakes or high risk applications. And then feedback loops to report outcomes to refine your algorithmic logic. We've also created the leaders checklist there around, have we audited the training data? Is the model's decision-making process explainable to a non-technical stakeholder? Do we have a kill switch for models showing erratic behavior? A lot of organizations have teams that are piloting and perhaps haven't considered some of this. And that is why we've coupled pilot teams to have this education pathway, because to fix it later opens up organizations and people to risk. As you can see on the right-hand side, UNESCO, which is the United Nations Educational, Scientific, and Cultural Organization. These are some of the, we've taken a snapshot of some of the principles laid out by human rights-centered approach to ethics in AI. So proportionality and do no harm. Use of AI systems must not go beyond what is necessary to achieve a legitimate aim. Think about current use cases. Are we considering that? Do we say this is strictly out of scope? As an example, what is harmful in terms of ethics, governance, application of that pilot? Safety and security, unwanted harms. How do you keep it safe, secure, avoid and so unwanted harms as well as vulnerabilities to attack security risks should be avoided and addressed. The right to privacy and data protection, multi-stakeholder and adaptive governance and collaboration, responsibility and accountability in your AI systems must be auditable, traceable, transparency and explainability. And it is tricky, right? I mean, we want to encourage innovation. That's why you see this rate of change and AI adoption with the Gen AI capabilities, just considering how many people use Chat GPT or other external GPT options for building their slide decks, for building their meeting minutes, for sharing company info, not knowing that it could lead to some of these unfortunate scenarios. So it's so important to create that awareness through your organization. And there are existing opportunities like the ones we are showing you here, where it is possible to lead with ethics first, to lead with a safe and secure pilot. It's about creating that awareness. It is about creating that upskilling opportunity as well. Building future-ready teams. I think we've touched on this quite a bit around fostering a mindset of augmented intelligence rather than replacement. Upskilling, building psychological safety. That's a key thing that we see in some of the organizations we consult with. How do we address, that job displacement fear through transparent communication, reskilling plans? Show people what the pathway looks like. Show them where you're going. Show them what North is. Yes, we know North might change due to market demands or new opportunities that exist as AI also evolves in terms of its capabilities. However, it is important to show people at least what the next 6 to 12 months look like. It creates that safety. That is why your AI strategic planning and execution and having those opportunities to communicate it and getting that experience feedback from people. Before we just get feedback on, did you use it? Was it good? Have you updated on the system? Have we rolled out this new process? And we'd get feedback on the thing, not always how they're feeling. What are they experiencing? That is equally important on this journey. And it helps to build future-ready teams, takes out that fear element just a little bit. Each bit helps on that curve. Agility. So that is also why JMK, and from a personal perspective, having done the 2 masters with the doctorate, focusing on AI and how that enhances business agility in organization, how that syncs, because it is required. Having the mindset of fail fast, learn fast, as well as experimenting, having a safe space to do that. Understanding how to plan AI execution in incremental ways. That is key because AI is changing so fast. If you plan a project in the way we would have an SAP project in the past or another technology, I mean, it would have been 12 to 36 months in some instances. We can't afford that now. AI has done, it's a positive disruption in many ways if we know how to use it. So having agility as an individual and an organization, those are key to taking you forward. The cultural shift, this is one of the key enablers. we've kept it on here as a key enabler that a leader needs to adopt in terms of creating that transparency, establishing learning opportunities, so continuous learning, incentivizing innovation. I mean, incentivizing doesn't always mean through a monetary reward, but how do we create opportunities for better work-life balance through using AI, better opportunities for people to upskill with continuous learning. So incentivizing innovation, driving that agile mindset in an organization. These key things around cultural behaviors, your core beliefs in your organization. I haven't, just looking at cultural shift, think about how many organizations are reflecting on whether their core beliefs are still relevant today. The world's changed so massively as we've into the AI age, and now we're navigating it, and we're building and using Gen AI and agentic AI. And have we looked at our culture pillars? Are they still relevant today? Of course, there'll be a large percentage of it that is, because every organization has its own blueprint, but there'll also be opportunity to maybe tweak it slightly. Maybe transparency becomes a really big thing on your cultural shift. Responsible use of company resources, maybe that's something you want to relook at. So cultural shift and leading the change, that's a definite place where leadership needs to spend a lot of that time. And then, of course, leadership in action. So there are tech giants which we'll look at now in terms of having applied their strategic vision. I've also included our very own Momentum CEO here that highlights AI in FSI is not just about automation. It is about augmenting human decision-making, building digital capability, and enabling smarter, more personalized client outcomes. We're all familiar with NVIDIA and Google and Amazon and the strides, from betting the farm on AI chips to AI-first companies. There are multiple leaders that we can look to in terms of what does this look like in a leadership role? What do we want to embody or embrace? And what do we want to learn from it? Because some leadership in action points could also show us, maybe I don't want to go down that route. Maybe there's a better way to do it. So do your own research in that space around your executive leadership that, what are the characteristics of these individuals that are driving an AI first company? What is the thinking in the organization that underpins this? Because there's a lot of other things they're doing right, which preceded AI, that allowed them to accelerate with AI. And that is how we lead into our next section here, which is introducing the AI executive course. So unlocking the potential of AI in your business. This is a certification and it's a pathway for those that are interested in AI, in the training. There is an exam that you write with it. The key outcome is to enhance strategic decision-making and lead innovation with AI-driven insights. It's unlocking the potential of AI in your business for those that are in a leadership role. The course overview. So this is what is covered. You've got foundational modules, understanding AI concepts, AI technologies and business implications, AI strategy for execs. We also cover ethical, legal, and societal considerations. And then applied modules. So within the course, you'll also cover managing an AI project, AI in the future of work, department-specific applications, and there is an interactive workshop. So this is one of the certifications currently that we are also launching locally. We will share with you class dates for these items. And as she mentioned earlier, or on the chat you might have seen, post this call, we want to share a survey with you. Once you complete that survey, you will get a voucher for some of these courses. We will host more webinars on specific topics and zoom in per course so that it creates awareness. A lot of the time when it's transformation in this manner, where it's come at such a pace to companies, to countries, if you look at some of them, has an AI Act. We've got the USA with their NIST framework. It's both individual, company, country, society impact that we're facing with AI. So we will continue to have webinars and share the information. It is important to us, both as AI Certs and JMK, that we build a future sustainable and employable workforce in society that can thrive and grow over time in this space. So I'm going to stop at this one. We're going to go to questions from Dees Pillay. He's going to highlight some of the certifications. But just to note this for everyone, only 1/3 receives guidance on how to reallocate time once they've started using AI. So without role-based training, we hit a ceiling. Because as a leader itself, what does the future work look like? How do I pivot to new work? How do I accelerate or boost my innovation in my department? Team members are now finishing work earlier with better quality, 52% time saving. Okay, so what do we do next? As an individual, okay, I've been able to augment my activities or support my activities using an agent, but now what do I shift to? So what's your professional development? I just want to share these insights with you so that you are more informed and able to make better decisions on whether your organizational path or your individual path. Just going to pause there and hand over to Dees.
Thank you, Kavisha. And good morning to everyone again. And maybe just to get into some of the detail and to touch on that last point, all of those time savings realized in organizations, C-levels, managers, heads of departments, typically don't actually realize the return on investment. You're investing in capability. They don't necessarily realize the risk introduced into the organization. And as part of that, I actually want to just maybe share a broader overview of the portfolio of AI certs via JMK and what we offer in that space. Just bring that up. And maybe let's just start here in terms of the AI roadmap. So the roadmap itself is broken up into various categories around essentials, foundations, business, executive, security, data, robotics, and security. And we're going to zoom in on the AI exec shortly. But as you can see from the portfolio, it's a very wide portfolio. The platform and the solution offers online real-time proctoring for all exams taken on it. There's self-learning class. There's access to the content for a period of 12 months, post-course completion. So you can also start to embed learning. Learning doesn't happen only just on that course and certification period. It happens over a period of time. So the platform does allow for that quite nicely. To zoom in on the AI executive, there's three areas, and I'll go into the AI Plus executive certification specifically. There's a course that offers chief AI officers the ability to shape the strategy, the value proposition to C-level and to boards within organizations. There's the RSAIF framework, which is critically important, and Kavisha touched on it a few times through her presentation at the start around how do we implement AI responsibly? How do we do it without compromising security, both at the data level, compliant to data protection acts, etc.? How do we do it in an accountable and transparent and with integrity? And how do we do it with fairness in terms of understanding career pathways and building out careers for individuals? So that looming skill shortage we have in the AI space today doesn't propagate into the future, with people leaving to go into other careers, other fields that are not maybe relevant or on the AI radar in the medium term. With regards to the AI executive, typically C-levels, and when you put together an AI strategy, there's a number of business challenges that you'd look at that talk to shareholder value, growth in your business, repositioning your value proposition as an organization and your go-to-market. Maybe to touch on what the AI executive goes into, it starts to analyze and leverage the data growth challenge that we have with potential AI solutions. And it teaches C-levels how to strategize and build out execution plans for the strategy. And it goes across security and privacy, data infrastructure and scalability, governance and policy management. And this touches again on the culture and what the organization is built around. Your data has a monetary value. There's risk in your data being exposed. Your policies in your business and organization need to evolve and change. And then with real-time data processing, and we touched on that on the last slide. As we're able to do things more efficiently and more effectively, how do we repurpose and strategize new career pathways, development paths for individuals with that time? So the investment in training can be realized through ROI through higher productivity from our workforce. Okay, essentially execs will leave with, at a very high level, this skill set and competencies. And this is what's tested in the exam. This is what's taught through the course and through the workshops. And it's really around the knowledge and the real world application. And the course goes into that in a fair amount of detail with relevant use cases. The best practices around implementing. And those best practices include sustainability and scalability across your people, across your business going forward. Mastering using AI insights So how do we get better at leveraging data to make decisions in our business, strategic decisions on how we pivot our organization to go or move differently into the market? And how does the leadership then drive that as a transformational activity through your business? Kavisha touched on that earlier on in the presentation as well. AI training is not just a certification you do and you forget about, or you do and you use in isolation. It really is about understanding the context within the organizational transformation aspirations and how does leadership lead through that, right? And the last one there is around cultivating a mindset. And the more training that happens, the more transparency that we have in the business, you start to create momentum for innovation and innovation targeted towards business growth across a broader set of your workforce. And that's really what the certification, the AI executive certification will focus on. And that's it from my side. I think we can move to some questions.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Deez and Kavisha, for sharing those insights with us. We have one question. I think most of the questions have already been answered in the chat box, but still, if I would request the audience, if you have any other questions or any doubts that you would like to discuss, we'll be very happy to assist you right here. Otherwise, you can please reach out to us on our websites. We have already shared the contact information in the chat box. I would request Kavisha and Deez if you can also share your email addresses in the chat box so that people can drop you an email if they have any queries later on. That would be beneficial.
Right?
Thank you, Shrishti, and just thank you to everyone who gave us your morning on a Friday, especially if it's early morning. You probably have your work meetings, or if it's the afternoon where you're at. I know the AI Certs team is also based globally. Just thank you so much. And once you reach out via email, we'll send you a survey link so that you can complete that, and then you'll get a voucher for the training. And you can select which training course you want to attend using that voucher. Thank you, Dee.
Kavisha. As we come towards the end of the session, I would like to extend my sincere thanks to you and Deez and the team for JMK Advisory for partnering with us, and also thank you to all of you who has joined us today. Recording of the session will be shared with you shortly. Also, we'll be sharing your participation certificates, so please be active on your emails and look forward to it. Thank you once again, everyone.